Wrestling podcast never felt this great. Tables, ladders, chairs, they tell it all. From the highest highs to the lowest fall. Grit and glory tales from the ring. Every chant, every cheer they'll bring. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never felt this great.
Brothers and sisters, we are back. We are back with a special edition of the Devon The Duke podcast. The five-time Hall of Famer himself, the man who, with his brother, were able to sell out, were able to have what many consider the match of the year, was able to once again prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. It does not matter how younger, faster, stronger, doesn't matter how much glitz and glam you put behind anybody. At the end of the day, you either get the job done or you don't. And certainly when it comes to the Dudley Boyz, certainly when it comes to Team 3D, certainly when it comes to the five-time Hall of Famer that's here today, that's all he's ever done. Get the job done at the highest level and make it something special. Without further ado, the man,
Absolutely.
Devon Dudley. How you doing there, brother?
I'm good, man. Good. Not bad at all.
You're going to have to take me on the road if I keep introducing you like that.
Getting you on the road might be a little difficult.
Uh-oh. See, listen, how come you always mess with me like that, huh? You ever notice that? You always, this guy.
I was waiting to meet up with you, and I got that text message. I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
It's like that brother that you always want to show up, but then always get that final call at the end.
Listen, I'm a show up when you least expect it, and then you're really gonna pop for that one. All right, that's how we go and do it. But you had a whole crew with you. You listen. You had your girls there to make sure that none of these fans stepped out of line, man. I saw how you were rolling.
Yeah, I had them there, but it still would have been good to have you there.
Yeah. I felt bad, man, and I'm watching it on TV, shaking my head because it was so special. The good part was I got to monitor how people were talking online, but it was so special. There were people with tears in their eyes in the crowd, man. It really, I don't know. I'm going to ask you directly, but as somebody who's pretty much seen your career from your first televised match all the way to now, that's got to be top 2, top 3 greatest moments there, at least for me on the outside looking in. It is for me. But I got to ask, man, how was it? How was it, especially reflecting back now? Where does your quote unquote retirement match, Dudley's versus Hardy's, TNA, where does that stack up? Bound for Glory, where does that stack up in your career, man?
I mean, definitely along the lines of the TLC matches. And what I mean is right along with them. It was very special. It was unique. It was something that I didn't expect for it to turn out the way it did. I'll be honest with you. I was pleasantly surprised. Bubba 54, I'm 53. Matt, I believe, is 51 or 52. Jeff is 48. With the younger generation bad-mouthing older athletes, I'm out there washed up and this and that and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's discouraging sometimes. So you go out there and you try to make sure that those words don't apply to you. And that's exactly what we did. We told more of a story than the physicality of the game. And I think we did a damn good job in doing that. I was very happy and content with how things went. Some surprises in the end. The Hardys did not know that we were going to take our boots off and give it to them. So Bubba told me, because originally I thought we were going to take our boots off and leave him in the ring. And, Bubba said, no, it got squashed and whatever. I'm like, all right. I really wanted to do that because I wanted to show that this was going to be my last. And I just remember as the day went on, Bubba said, "Oh, by the way, we're going to take our boots off after everything and give them to the Hardys." And I was like, "What?" When he explained the concept about what that meant, I was like, "Okay, I got it." I was all for it. You know, it was like kind of passing the torch without passing the torch. It was kind of like when a warrior goes to battle and he loses, but yet he's humbled about it. So he'll give his sword or he'll give his suit of armor to the victor. It was kind of like something like that. But at the same token, like I said, it was kind of like, just showing that, they won. Hey, they're the champs. They deserve their flowers, and we gave it to them even more with giving them our retired boots.
I mean, certainly, the Hardy Boys, they are a team that's established historically. They have their place. They're not going anywhere. It is what it is. But to defeat Team 3D, to defeat the Dudley Boys at Bound for Glory in the retirement match, and like you said, you guys humbling yourselves and passing the boots to them, passing the torch like that, it elevates them to a whole new stratosphere.
Well, one of the things also is people saying they didn't need to be elevated to that level. They didn't need the rub or this and that. They're the Hardys. They don't need that. You should have given it to a younger team. Well, first off, a younger team wouldn't have been able to help the Dudleys sell out the way we did. The people didn't want to see a younger team. They wanted to see the Dudleys and the Hardys, and that's what they came for. So for those of you that think that we should have given them to somebody else, you're wrong. That's just like saying, who should have beat Taker streak at WrestleMania. So many came to mind, but there was only one that even though this person didn't deserve a rub or didn't need the push, so to speak, from it, he was the only qualified one. And that was Brock Lesnar. So I look at it as the same way. The only qualified team would have been the Hardys, and hell, even if Edge and Christian wouldn't have been able to be a part of it, they would have been, you know, in that honor, in that same boat. But the Hardys got it, and that's it, guys.
Well said. Well said. And we've seen what has happened since Brock ended the streak. You don't get Roman Reigns, and therefore you don't get Cody Rhodes without Brock Lesnar passing the torch. But Brock had to have that extra something to pass down, So now when you look at the Hardys, whomever, if anyone, is able to defeat them before they retire, especially, this next go around, that's going to have to be a very big, a very special moment because they are carrying so much history with them, especially now being able to say that they had this historic match with the Dudleys all these years after TLC. That's a big deal, bro. So, it's very good for the business. It's very fantastic for the fans, and I respect you. I respect you, and I respect Bubba for doing that because you didn't have to do it, Devon. You know, you didn't have to do it. I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit, folks. Devon and I have been talking about the possibility of him going back into the ring for a little over a year now, and I'm sorry, Devon, if I'm speaking out of school, but this guy has been going back and forth about whether or not he should do it, whether or not he has to do it. His legacy is established. It is what it is. And it took a lot. It took a lot of soul searching. It took a lot of discussion with Bubba. It took a lot of discussion with the family before Devon was comfortable enough to make this decision and then see it through. Not 2-a-days in the gym, 3-a-days. Changing his diet. Literally busting his own ass all this time to get himself in the kind of shape, both physically, mentally, and spiritually, to put it all on the line. And in that Bound for Glory match, man, you did things that I absolutely never expected you to do. You were so much more physical than I expected. And that's a testament to you setting a goal, sticking to it, and seeing it through, man. So I tell you, brother, you have my utmost respect for what you put yourself through.
Thank you. It's, again, A lot of soul searching, yes, took place because I didn't really know if I had it anymore to do it. I felt like whatever was, even though I preached all the time that I still had some left in the basement, I did. But at the same token, I always thought also that maybe I didn't have enough to go and do a match. But as I started training and getting ready, again, I had a regular trainer, I had a boxing coach to help me with footwork and all of that, and, strikes. Um, I took it very seriously. And it wasn't going to be something where, they get to talk about me later. Listen, I have a lot of respect for Ric Flair and, what he's done in this for this business. But I also know that a lot of media and a lot of fans buried him in the last time he was in the ring. Apparently, I don't know if it's true or not. Apparently, he had a heart attack twice in the ring or what have you. He shouldn't have been in the ring, and they were saying he's too old. What the hell is he thinking? This is going to be a disaster before the match even took place. I understand their way of thinking and why they felt that way because Rick was a lot older than me going into his last and final match. Plus, he had cheated death. Guess what, guys? So did I. I hate to say I cheated it because I don't want no final destination shit coming down on me. But I, I basically had that stroke. And although I kept it quiet about having the stroke leading up to the Bound for Glory match because the back surgery was something that I could have hidden. In other words, I could have said, hey, I had that, back surgery. It's not a big deal. I've recovered and blah, blah, blah. But when you start talking stroke, people start thinking differently. And I didn't want people to think differently. And I think I showed that the stroke didn't have anything in my body to make me feel like I couldn't do what I had to do. And I did it, you know? Shit, even Jeff coming across and knocking the shit out of me in my head. I was like, good God, Jeff. But in all actuality, there was no complications from a stroke or back surgery. I actually jarred my shoulder coming down on 3D the first 30 seconds of the match. I jarred my shoulder trying to protect Matt instead of just falling flat on my back. I went to my side, came down on my elbow, which shot up into my shoulder to the point where the next day I couldn't move my arm. But that was really it. The stroke, no headaches, nothing like that. The back surgery, nothing in my back whatsoever. No tingling, no nothing. I was able to do it. And I went out there and I wasn't even tired. That's the thing. I breathed heavy here and there, but I wasn't even tired. I was trying to get my bearings in terms of selling, which I did like my selling. I do think that my knee pads were on a little too tight. Um, I should say my braces and my knee pads, which kind of restricted my walking a little bit. But that's always been my career with that. But trying to get used to that again was kind of hard. But again, I'm very happy with what we did and very satisfied. And now I can just say I can retire gracefully and just be done with it. I'm working behind the scenes still with a lot of projects and so forth and so on. I don't have to be in the ring no more. I don't want to train like that no more. I mean, it was fun. It was good because I hadn't done it in years. But it got to the point where, life was coming in front of me. And yet I had no time to um, handle my personal life because I was too busy focusing on this match and training in the gym. So, when I have certain situations like that come into my life, I want to be able to concentrate on that and not have to worry about training or distracting me from something I need to do because I need to protect myself.
I want to take a step back. Let's go to the day before Bound for Glory because both you and Bubba and Jeff and Matt were at Kowloon Restaurant, the legendary Kowloon Restaurant in Saugus, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. You have Ribera Steakhouse, you have Jimmy's Seafood. I know you and Bubba got something coming up at Jimmy's real soon, and then you have Kowloon. Kowloon is in that air as a place where the wrestlers go to and are respected, and it's always a good time and what have you. I don't know if you know this, Devon, but they're actually moving locations, Kowloon. So that property has been sold, and there's going to be housing and what have you built on that property. And Kowloon is going to be going a little further down the street. So your appearance there is probably the last time you're going to be in that particular building ever, and it being Kowloon. Did you know that?
I had heard rumblings on it. Didn't know if it was true or not. I do know Andy, the owner of Kowloon's. I had a talk with him because I had heard that they were shutting down. And he said, well, mom and dad are getting too old, Devon, and the siblings don't really want to run it the way it should be run. So they figure they just close the doors and do it that way. But they do want to open up smaller versions of Kowloon's and open it up and keep the tradition going that way, which I think is great. But, either way, Kowloon's will still be around, but it might be a smaller version of it. Not as on the big scale as it was, but it's going to be missed. I had so many good memories there.
Well, speaking of which, let's talk about that Saturday, man. If this was your last time at the original Kowloon restaurant, Saugus, Massachusetts, talk to me about that. What was that whole day like?
Well, we walked in there, we did the panel, had a great time doing it, talking to the fans. Then we sat there in the back. We were doing my YouTube channel with Bubba and Maven and eating the great food from Kowloon's. And then basically just doing show after show for the YouTube channel to get everything going. And that was really basically it. So my day was consumed with work.
But now you told me that you were disappointed that you're not going to be able to have any of that food, and now you tell me you did sneak some, huh?
Well, I had the steak tips.
Yeah.
I wanted the General Tso chicken and the other chicken, the breaded chicken, but I stayed away from it. But I had just the steak.
I love it. I love it. That's good stuff there.
Yeah.
You did Kowloon on Saturday. Let's fast forward to Sunday. You get to the arena. It's a nor'easter outside, so the weather is terrible. But yet you get to the arena. Now, how are you feeling?
I felt good. Nerves started kicking in. Butterflies started coming in. Thank God, because I've always said the minute that's gone, I don't need to be in that ring. But that came back, so that was good. Um, I was excited for the girls to see me. Um, and I felt like I was calling the shots on my own. In other words, I wasn't being disrespectful or anything, but it was like, okay, I need this from you guys, I need that, and they were like, okay, more than obliged to help. And my thing is, over the years, I basically would do that and then been told no or what have you. It was like this time I refused to be told no, especially when I felt like I'm not under contract. I don't have to do what anybody says. I'm gonna be respectful, but I'm under contract. I'm gonna do how I feel, and that's it.
Damn right. Damn right. I hear that. Spike Dudley, which was a huge surprise that everyone popped for. How did the Spike Dudley thing come into play here where you guys ended up walking out with him?
Well, it's not that far. It's like a 45-minute hour drive from Providence to Boston, and that's where he lives in Providence. And it was always thought of anytime something like this goes on, Spike is always put in the equation. How can we enter Spike? Is he busy? Can he come? A phone call was made, and Spike said, "Yeah, I can go." Anytime we can do a family reunion, it's good.
I love that. I love that. And he looked good, man. I mean, with the two of you guys there, it truly felt like old times. Like, that was fantastic.
It really did. I was very happy, like I said, to see him, and he looks great. His body's not hurting as much BS as we put him through over the years. He's still walking, still thinking correctly, and everything.
Yeah, it's just so awesome to see him. Seriously, so awesome to see him there. So you guys walk out, you get in that ring, and at that point, you're truly able to look around and see the crowd. What were you thinking when you saw that place packed out like that?
Enjoy it because this is it. That's what kept running through my mind. Enjoy it because this is it. This is truly it.
Wow. Did you realize that match is the main reason why folks showed up? I mean, no disrespect to anybody else. I'm not trying to, what have you. There was a lot going on that card, but Dudley's versus Hardy's, you guys You guys packed the house. Did you realize that match meant
I
that
didn't
much to
realize
folks?
until I got to the building. And when I heard about all the pre-sales and the walk-ups and things like that, that's when I realized. I was like, wow, they came to see us. They really did.
Yeah, they really did. And again, in a storm. I mean, that rainstorm was so bad that your flight ended up getting delayed going home.
Well, delayed and canceled. Yeah. And, a lot of times, even when we've done Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-views, if it was raining the way it was, normally they don't come out. But they came out for us.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough conditions out there, no question about it. But folks showed up. Folks showed up and showed out and gave y'all a pop of a lifetime in that building in Lowell, Massachusetts there. Um, the match itself. The match itself, once you got going, how long did it take you before you felt settled and you were just going through your thing, or were you loose the whole damn time?
I was loose the whole time. I stretch a lot. I make sure that the limbs are loose and ready to go. So I was ready to go. No question about that.
You modified something, and I guess we could talk about this now because you were a little concerned about this beforehand.
The what's up?
When you spin around, well, when you spin around and do the crucifix,
Right.
so you modified that. Talk to me about that because this is some inside baseball here that folks don't know about, man.
I forgot how to do it. It was 2 weeks prior to it. I was trying to practice it and could not get the rhythm down to save my life. I started watching old tapes. I was like, how the hell did I lose this? And so, not to make an ass out of myself, I said, you know what? Eff it. I'm just gonna do it like DDP used to do it.
I love it. I love it, and it worked. It worked. It wasn't out of place. It still worked.
Hmm. One day I'll pick it up, and by then
But
it's definitely too late.
no, man, that was cool. It was really cool. But the what's up now that was a little different because instead of you being on the top rope, Bubba was on the top rope, right?
No, I was on the top. I mean, the second.
Oh, yeah, the second rope. That's right. That's right. So that was modified though too.
Yeah, I kind of went to my feet first, then rolled to my hip, and then rolled.
See,
So
inside baseball here.
I did that. I would do that like in 2015 when I just didn't feel like wrestling. It was live events. I was so tired. I would go up to the top, come down, feet first, go down to my knee, and then roll into it. But that was just me being lazy at the time.
Yeah, yeah. You know, now there was a point in that match where y'all it looked like y'all were going to win that match. So you really kind of took us on an emotional roller coaster there. I thought you were walking out with the belts because it looked like it was all sewn up.
Yeah, Jeff came charging at Bubba. Bubba moves, side swipes him, and he goes right outside the ring. Matt gets on Bubba, gets on me, gets on Bubba, gets on me, gets on me. He goes to throw a line. I duck. He comes back, 3D. Boom, right out the bat.
Incredible, incredible. Which everybody stood up for that. That was like whoa. That was special. That was special. What was the reaction of the locker room after that match when y'all went to the back?
Got a standing ovation from the guys in the back. And basically, they basically were showing us nothing but love. Thank you for everything you've done for this business. You guys are the real goats and so forth and so on. I mean, they were really genuine showing their love for us.
Man, Tommy Dreamer was back there. Now here's a man that you've pretty much known your career. Um, he was back there in TNA working behind the scenes and what have you. What did Tommy have to say when you went to the back?
It was funny. When I came to the back, Tommy grabbed me, hugged me, and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He was like, "All right, good." He was like, "You overachiever." And at first, I didn't know what he meant, but then as it played in my head, I was like, okay. Again, because I didn't just look like a guy that came back after 7 years of being absent. Some people were saying that I looked like the old Devon, which was great, but that's what I wanted. So I was going to train that hard to make sure that my body did look like the old Devon and that I was moving the way I used to move and I didn't miss a step. And that goes back to the Ric Flair thing I said earlier. I was saying that because, it didn't look like the old Ric Flair, even though Ric Flair told stories in his match and, you know, did what he did when he had to wrestle and this and that. But again, people were downing Rick on his last match, saying he was too old, he shouldn't have been in there. I didn't want that for me. So I basically made sure that I was doing everything possible like the young guys would do in training. I'd put myself through that. So that way, have the snot and spit, roll out my nose and mouth in practice. But then by the time TV comes, I'm good to go. And that was the case. I was not tired. A lot of that was selling, trying to get my bearings together with that, and it actually worked.
You had a tremendous training regimen with a few coaches who put some time in and helped you along the way, got you to this point here. Let's give them a shout out, man. Do you want to call out some folks individually who helped you out with the training, the boxing, the yoga, all that stuff there?
Yeah, actually, two people I forgot, DDP and Bobby Fish. Tremendous in helping me get to where I am right now.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Bobby. What about your boxing coach?
Oh, yes. I put her up. I put, on my YouTube video, her and Jay. I couldn't thank enough, for helping me to get me to this point. They were tremendous. Always in my ear, pushing me to move it, move it. The up downs, the 1,000 meters in under 4 minutes. With the ski thing. I mean, it was incredible.
How did the girls react once it was all said and done? Because again, they've been with you throughout this journey, man. They're younger, so they saw Dad when he's recovering.
Amaya was like, "Hey, Dad, what's up?" Like no big deal to her because she doesn't really understand it. She's 5, but the 7-year-old did, and she was the one that started. She was crying at ringside, and then basically when I got over there, she hugged me.
Wow. To everybody listening out there,
Mhm.
Devon, who may have had to take a step back for health reasons, for a multitude of reasons, what have you. Um, what do you have to say to them, man? You're somebody who did the impossible. You came back from so much, and you were able to put on a tremendous match, something that people are going to be talking about for the end of time, so to speak. And you proved that you could do it. What do you have to say about folks who may be struggling right now?
People that are struggling, my thing is this, dude. Just go do what you want to do. Don't let anybody deter you from doing what you got to do. Just go out there and just do it. Like the old Nike logo used to say, just do it. I mean, would you agree with that?
Absolutely, man. You proved that. You proved that tenfold.
There were some haters out there, and I read the comments. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this match. Oh, this is going to be god awful, and this and that. And all that did was add fuel to the fire. It made me train even harder. Thank you very much for saying all of that because it made me again train harder, and I was ready to go.
Yeah, you were ready to go, and you went. There ain't no question about that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to ask you this last question now, Devon, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here because if I talk to my friends in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and I talk to Nick Khan and Triple H and we put a little something together. Are you sure we can't get you to get back in there? You sure we can't get you to take those boots from the Hardys?
Look, 6 figures or even almost close to 7 figures will make a man do anything. Make him go back on his word quick. But I just don't see it. I don't see WWE doing that. So therefore, I'm going to leave it at that. I also feel that we did so well in this match to do it again or to keep doing it again is just going to be redundant. I just don't think that we should. I think we should leave on this note and that's it. But again, if they want to, pay that money to do it, absolutely. Okay, let's do it. But, again, I would almost think that it's probably best to leave it at bay.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, man. Michael Jordan, after he got that 6th ring, he could have rolled off into the sunset that way. And it kind of feels like that's what this moment was. This was your sixth ring. You know, you completed the second three-peat, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And, with that being said, it's like, okay, what else do you have to prove, and other than making that money and bringing it home? That's really what it boils down to at this point. I gave the fans everything I had in Bound for Glory. Now it would just be for the money.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. You're in high demand, man. And it's something that you and I have been talking about since the beginning. We've been doing this show together for a little over a year now. And we interact, and we've been talking about the road, the journey to, make sure that people speak about Devon Dudley in proper context. You're one of the greatest of all time. You're somebody who is an inspiration for generations to come up after you. You are the most accomplished black wrestler. You and Booker T, I would say, are the two most accomplished black wrestlers in history. There's no question about it. So historically, it is imperative. It is necessary that Devon Dudley is spoken of in proper context. And as strange as it sounded when you and I first had that conversation, we've had the conversation many times throughout this past year plus. It's starting to feel like people are finally getting it, and they are speaking about you in proper context. Do you feel that? Do you personally feel the difference?
I can say I felt a little bit of it. Didn't feel too much. I've read some of the comments that have been said on Twitter and things like that. Not a bad thing has been said. They loved everything. So I'm sure over time, again, it hasn't even been a week. I'm sure over time it'll come out where more respect will be given, because Sunday night was a very emotional and, just happy occasion in a sense.
Indeed. Well, for everybody listening out there, Devon, if they want to chase their dreams, if they want to get on the horse for the first time or get back on the horse and see what they can do, what is the best way that they can get in touch, especially going over to Team 3D, going over to Devon Academy, and learn how to do this thing at the highest level from one of the greatest of all time, Devon Dudley? What's the best way folks can reach out and get that train going for themselves?
Yep, Testify Devon on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter at Testify Devon. You can leave me messages, things like that. I read them, like I said, and I'll get back to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, what about the YouTube channel, man? Because you got some great, fresh content up on there. I know folks definitely got to make sure they check that out. How can they find the YouTube channel?
All right, well, just go to YouTube and just go to www.devondudley.com. .com. Go to Devon Dudley YouTube channel. It'll pop right up, and enjoy the new videos that come up every week now.
I love it. I love it. Listen, Devon, again, you're an inspiration, man. You really are. And I'm so happy that you were able to do this, not only for we fans, not only for yourself, but do this for your family.
Yeah.
It's special. It's special, man. It really is. Because they get to see you when the lights are out. They know the struggle. So to be able to see you on that level, get that kind of reverence and respect, perform at the highest level, sell out an arena. I mean, goodness gracious. It's special, man. So I'm very, very happy and very proud. Let's take it home with a word of the week, man. With all of this emotion, with everything that's happened, what does the great Lord have to say through you to the rest of the world?
Well, something I've said before: if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. And I've prepared myself to be successful. And that's what you have to do with anything in life. Prepare yourself to succeed. Don't put negativity in your words and say what you cannot do. Always say I can. And that's what I was doing to myself during all of this time, during the haters that were saying what they were saying. I can do it. I am going to make them eat their words. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be fearless. I'm going to go out there and do what I got to do. And that's exactly what I did. I had the confidence in myself and I believed in myself. I prayed to God every day, and I asked him to help me through this journey. And, hey, if you can get me through this, I promise you to be the last time I try to embark on this journey. But I just need to get through this so I can get this stuff out of my basement and just go do what I got to do and enjoy life.
Testify.
My brother, that's the word.
Strictly for the culture every day. Stepping style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so defined. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca.
Backstage whispers and the crowds roar. From matching giants to legends of yore. Devon's wisdom and Duke's keen view. Every episode feels like it's brand new. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never